Again, usually when I get a new vehicle, I don't take it out immediately and run it. I check it over real well and make sure everything is good. Well, seeing that this was a two-wheel drive vehicle, there really wasn't much to check. Just make sure all the bearings were good, make sure all screws are tight. I didn't check fluids yet. The suspension definitely needs better shock oil because it's way too bouncy. And I ran it. I ran it on 3S. I ran it on this zippy Lipo. Let's see what the temp is right now. It's been about 30 minutes, 81 degrees at the moment. Lipos, a lot of people say if a Lipo gets hot, that's bad. No, that's actually a misconception. It's okay for them to get warm, possibly even a little hot, when being discharged. You really want to watch them getting hot when they're being charged. If they're getting hot while they're being charged, there's some type of internal resistance that there's a problem. These are chemical batteries. It's a lithium polymer. It's basically nothing but lithium paste put on aluminum, and then it's wrapped. And this is a 3S. I already went over that, and I will say right now on 3S, basically, it's probably funny for me to compare this vehicle to a cartoon character, but all I can really compare it to is a Tasmanian devil. I've goofed around with Traxxas Rustlers VXLs. They don't hold a candle to this thing. I drained this entire battery. The highest temp I saw on the motor was 160. The highest temp I saw on the ESC was 125, which that's all within good ranges. I had some Traxxas T-Max springs that I put on the rear, and that got rid of the rear squatting. The front doesn't squat. I mean, it does a little, but that's not that big of a deal. It's only got one preload clip. This was if I was to take these two preload clips out, it would go back to the stance that it does stock. So that's one thing I've already done to it. I still have to put the shock caps on. I just wanted to go out and see what it could do. And on 3S, this thing is a little beast. I'm not one for bashing. I don't really like bashing on vehicles. But seeing this was a $250 vehicle, parts aren't going to be all that expensive. And I know that Arrma, they warranty their products. I know someone who had a Nero who had a complete motor go out. They replaced the entire motor. The only problem that I noticed was one of the drive cups, the left side drive cup and the left rear. Because the dog bone wasn't moving back and forth, all the wear was at one spot, so it sort of created a flat spot. And that's why you really, because it was towards the outer part of the drive cup, the weaker part. It's actually the driven cup. It's the part at the wheel. Wheelie's on demand even at speed. I can't even remember what it said. Let me see if I can find the paperwork real quick. Yeah, here we go. That's not the paperwork I need. I needed the power sheet. Where did I put it? I can't remember where I put it right at this moment, but I know it said it can do 60 mile an hour, and Arrma even claims that they got it to 67 miles per hour. I can believe that 100% because this thing, the biggest problem is the rear tires. They don't get much traction at all. There's simply not enough surface area. So they're definitely going to get probably some Badlands. I don't know yet. They need to be some wide with a good offset. Even making it a little wider at the rear end would make it better. I believe I have some tires that I could put on it from my Rustler. I do. I'm probably going to put those tires on it. And get better traction overall. But this thing is just a absolute terror. It will rip up grass straight off. I will say here where I live, we haven't had rain, and I believe it's been like 48 or 49 consecutive days. So, I mean, it's extremely dusty right now. I'm going to have to clean it up. I'm not, even though it says waterproof, I'm not one to take it into the shower and just douse it with water. I'll take the electronics out first and then douse it and then clean out the electronics. But the best thing I found to do is an air compressor. But overall running, it's a complete blast. I showed, there's local kids in my neighborhood and they absolutely loved it. The Traxxas Rustler VXL, no, it doesn't hold a candle to this thing. This thing on 3S is insane. You want to, honestly, if you want to have fun with this and not always be wrestling it to keep control of it, you're going to want to go with 2S. I don't mind 3S. I like the challenge. But I do have some 2S batteries that I can put in it. But it is an insane little vehicle. I am very impressed. Like I said in the very first video that I did, this is my very first Arrma vehicle. A lot of people have said they will never go back to Traxxas or anything else. They stick to Arrma because they haven't had any problems. Problems they've had, Arrma has fixed them. I've heard one person that said they've had 4 Arrma vehicles and they would never have another one. That's one person out of 40 or 50 that I know on Facebook. The one thing is finding batteries. For finding a decent battery, you're going to have to find the compact ones, because it can only be so thick. I don't remember the exact dimensions off the top of my head, but this battery right here fits perfect. And I was out for probably a little over an hour. And in fact, I said that I ran it down. Where's the voltmeter? Actually, where's my other one? Every time I need something, I can't find it. That's always how it goes. Oh, there it is. I ran it for about an hour. Several times wide open going across the field. Right now, first cell 3.75 volts, second cell 3.74, third cell 3.74. So total 11.25. So I could have stayed out for another, I mean, with a 5,000 milliamp hour high discharge battery, you can stay out for an hour and a half and not have a problem. Get 2 or 3 of these and you can stay out for as long as you want. As long as you bring a decent charger with you. After you kill one and charging the other, you have the other 2 that you can run. So basically, with 3 batteries, you'll never run out of runtime. Sort of like with nitro and gas. A lot of people say that you can't run nitro and you can't run gas nonstop. I've done endurance races, 6 hours. With actually 3 hours with a 30-minute break. and there's 4 of us, and we would change drivers so we wouldn't get fatigued about every 30 minutes. And nitro can go non-stop. But with something like this, you would easily win races if you set it up. There's a lot of clearance. Let's actually check I want to see what the actual clearance is. Uh, 1 3/4 or almost 5 centimeters up front, and in the rear 6 centimeters or 2 1/4 inches, and up front it was 1 3/4 inches. So a lot of ground travel, a lot of ground clearance. I mean, you can go over things. The only problem I had was going into leaves. Like right now, it's fall, leaves are falling. If I would have gone, there were 2 times I got stuck in a batch of leaves. But I had no problem with it. It's actually very comfortable. Very well balanced. And this is the first time I've had one of these. In a second, I'll show you all my transmitters. I've got a good amount, and I've sold a lot from all the RC vehicles I have and have had. But I've had 2 Rustlers, a Nitro Sport, 1 Rustler. I still have 1 Rustler. It's a 3.3, and I race it. But this thing, there's no way my 3.3 could keep up with this, especially if I was to put the high-speed gearing on it. I see now that with the high-speed gearing, you're not gonna be able to run it non-stop, because I ran it I would say between 45 minutes and an hour, and the motor I took my temp gun with me. And the motor got to, it doesn't have a, it doesn't have a callback. But the motor got to 160.5. And that's fine. 180 is max you want to get to. And I had no problem with 160 degrees. And I was constantly checking it, because the first time I was driving it, especially on 3S, and 3S is max you can do this on. So you're pretty much pushing it on 3S. On 2S, you're going to see cooler temperatures, but you're not going to see the extreme performance. And like I said, the biggest problem are these rear tires. And I'm going to dig out my old Rustler tires. They do have aluminum hexes inside of it, so that's a really big plus. Overall, it's just a blast. Every kid in the neighborhood that saw it was absolutely amazed with, I mean, it could just spin and do donuts without a problem in the world. I mean, easy as hell. I mean, it's an amazing little car and like I said, $250. If you're wanting to get your kid a decent RC vehicle, you can get them the brush version, which is $150. Or you can get them the brushless version, which is extra $100 to get a hobby wing setup. I'm not sure who makes the motors for Arrma. I wish I did. If I had to guess, I would say Reedy, based on the connectors, but don't hold me to that. That's just a guess, because the connectors are Reedy style. It's the braided, where the wires go down into the motor. It's that braid instead of a latex. Why am I having so many brain farts? Basically, a latex covering over the wire. But there's really not much else I can say. It is a little bit unfortunate about the drive cup, but I will be calling Tower Hobbies to get that issue resolved, because that was the first run, and even it says straight on the box, 3S capable. Well, if it's 3S capable, stuff shouldn't be bending. When it comes to the plastic pieces that used to be metal, that's the reason that it's $250 now. It used to be $360. They took away the metal side braces and the metal top, and they went to plastic. It's still very tough. I was able to jump it, no problems. There will be a running video of this coming after this video. Like I said, I do them in 4 segments, each vehicle. But I really like the battery compartment is really nice how to get to it. The diffs could probably take a little bit thicker grease. Getting to the switch to turn the ESC on and off is a little hard to get to because it's right here. So, I mean, you gotta have tiny little fingers to get to it. And now it's off. I just unplugged the battery. And, I mean, there's nothing else that needs to be done to this vehicle. It's an absolute blast out of the box. The one thing I probably would add is a cat pack to protect the battery and also make it a little smoother. But that's pretty much it. The only problem that I had, which you're gonna have with pretty much any RTR cars, once you get it out, you're gonna have to set your steering trim. That's not that big of a problem. But I flipped it several times. Nothing broke. Nothing fell off. Most of it was just running it, just beating on it and see. Okay, this is what Arrma has. $250. Let's see what I can do. Let's see if it'll break. Didn't break. And I was harsh on it. I was very harsh on it. Harsher than I'm on just about any vehicle I have. The only vehicle that I have been this harsh on would probably have been my T-Max when I first got it. But as I've gotten a little older, I see that these vehicles are investments. And going out them and beating on them, and if you don't have the money to constantly be buying parts, don't beat the dog, you know what, out of them. Because, I mean, you're gonna be replacing parts left and right. Dog bones did not pop out. Shock caps did not pop off. Very fun car. Honestly, if somebody put a Rustler VXL and this in front of me, I'd be going for this. A Rustler VXL, you have plastic drive shafts, which are going to twist. You're going to have to upgrade the drive shafts. These are metal. Yeah, the drive cups, over time, may get flat spots and get warped a little, but that's cheap. It even comes with a rubber block to put in the battery compartment. And that's about as thick as your battery can be. And that's it next to my Zippy. And I see that the Zippy is perfect little battery for this car. 25C, 500 milliamp hours. It's just perfect amount of power. As of right now, I don't see any upgrades that I'll be doing. I will be getting some STRC parts like the aluminum shock bodies, aluminum caps, whatever is available for this. I will be getting in time. I will be getting a lighting kit because driving this at night would be fun. But overall, it is a very fun car. It is a very fast car, very, very fast, very torquey. I mean, if you're at a standstill and you give it gas, it's just going to rip whatever surface it's on right up. except for pavement, of course. Like if you're on grass, if you're on dirt, if you're on gravel, don't stand behind it, because right now, after this video, I'm taking a shower because my legs are covered in dirt. And like I said, it's very dusty outside at where I live because Montgomery or Birmingham, Alabama hasn't got rain for 60 some odd consecutive days. And where I live, we're pretty much in the same situation. We haven't got rain. So, I mean, there's a lot of very loose, everything's just getting ripped up very easily, and there's a lot of dust. So, that's it for the running review. Next will be the running video. And it's just a blast to have fun with. Like I said, I'm not much of a basher, but this is a vehicle that I can see that I can go outside anytime and just have fun with. Not have to worry about it breaking, not have to worry about nitro, the motor, possibly breaking, especially with the TRX 3.3. We all know that, I mean, well, if you're into RCs, you know that that motor is very prone to failing, especially at the connecting rod. The sleeve, I mean the skirt of the piston breaks. So that's one thing I'm a little cautious with my 3.3 vehicles. I try not to beat on them too hard, but I still go out and have fun with them. I just make sure I don't run them too rich, because then you can have hydrostatic lock, which will cause the connecting rod to fail, the wrist pin to fail, or a too lean condition where the explosion is just too much for it to handle, gets too hot, and you end up frying a $130, $150 engine, depending where you get it from. So that's it for this video. Again, thank you for watching. Next video, I don't know if it'll be on the funny car, doing the diff on it, or doing a running video on this. I'm not sure yet. Basically what comes first comes first. If my fiance can come out with me and hold the camera while I run it, that'll be great. One thing I will mention, it does not have an antenna. The receiver does not have an antenna. So that's one less thing you have to worry about, and it still gets great range. I drove it about 200 yards away from me. Still had complete control. Turned it around and full throttle back. And with this really loose grass that we have around here with all the dirt, because it's so dry, I mean, it's fishtailing the entire time. I mean, because the 3S is just, the motor is spinning so fast and it has so much torque. So, and that's it for this one. Hope to see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. And always, stay tuned for the giveaway. Peace.